Purdue is now in second place, I believe, in the Big Ten, thanks to a road loss at Michigan. Michigan's sole possession of first place, 11-2. Sorry, I just had to bring it up here on the phone while we're streaming through my laptop. Purdue is 11-3, a half game back, and Michigan State is a game out of first place in the Big Ten regular season standings. And Randolph, let me just ask you, like, for Michigan, the thing for me is when they don't turn the ball over, they are one of the most difficult teams in college basketball to beat. I think the perfect example was tonight. They had 8 turnovers in the first 14 minutes and dug themselves an 11-point hole. They had 3 turnovers in the last 26 minutes, and they beat up on a Purdue team that I think is, I'm starting to believe is actually pretty good. What do you make of Michigan? What do you make of this win? And what do you make of Danny Wolf?
Well, aside from those free throws they missed at the end of the game, I thought he gave him a shot at the end. He would have been sick had Smith made that 3 and won the game. They're a unique team. They're a strange team to play because of their style of play and how they play. And he's just such a unique player. Standing there, you got Wolf, you got Gladden. They're playing with 2-footers, but he plays more on the perimeter. He plays like a guard, so they're just unique in how they go. I think they'll go as far as their guards can steady the ship and have them going. I think there's just so much inconsistency in certain places. I mean, even inbounding the play there, you don't, as a guard, I'm thinking one of their lead guards, you got to take the ball out and you got to be able to close game. Donaldson doesn't shoot free throws well enough that he's the inbounder. And that's concerning when you're in, ball games like this. I think he's shown he can make clutch shots, but that's the only thing I think about this team. That tonight's game was just some of their decision making at the end. Michigan's a good team. They're well coached. We've always talked about that with those guys, but I think they'll go as far as their guards, their backcourt leads.
Jeff,
they're in first place now. I mean, Michigan is in first place. They're the only team in the league with 2 losses. They've done it without a true point guard, right? I mean, they've done it again, having to run a lot of offense through their big. And Danny Wolf. And you got to give Dusty May a lot of credit because he has found a way to kind of hide those weaknesses where usually you say if you don't have a point guard, you have no shot. You have no shot. And they're in position to win the league. Now, the league isn't overpowering this year. Let's face it. But again, first year, brand new team, completely different players other than what, Vlad Golden? It's the only player he brought with him, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And look at what he's done. Are we really going to question Dusty May? Like, I know there were plenty of people that did. I'm not pointing at you or RC, but there were plenty of people that were like, well, he went to a Final Four, but it was fluky. It was a fluky Final Four.
It wasn't fluky, but I think that it was justified saying, well, I think that Dusty probably still has some things that he needs to prove.
Sure.
And he's proven those things. He's proven that the bet that Michigan was making on him was correct.
He also had a shitty job at FAU, a bad job at FAU. And he turned it into a Final Four, and then people kind of crapped on him when he didn't take him far in the NCAA tournament. Like, come on. Like, go down FAU.
It couldn't have been.
I know you like Del Rey and Boca.
Well, it couldn't have been that. You're trying to move down there right now. Where are you living right now in this moment?
Temporarily, just for the weather. Just for the weather.
It couldn't have been that bad of a job if you are literally trying to go there, so you don't have to be with RC in Boston right now. Right. I agree with all you guys and everything.
Hey guys, I'll say this. I'll say this about them too. That I think about Dusty May. I'm a big fan of his because, and we said this a year ago. Even though their season at FAU following the Final Four didn't go the way everyone intended or thought that it should, but the mere fact that he got those guys to return in today's climate tells you all you need to know about Dusty May, all you need to know about him, and that what he could do with a program with the resources and the backing at a place like Michigan. So I'm not surprised because he did it in FAU.
One more thing to that, in furthering that, is I think what he went through last year at FAU in the adversity, dealing with a bunch of guys that were kind of high major players and having to deal with some of those egos and the expectations and all that have helped him immensely this year at Michigan.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point, actually. You know what else is a good point? Your whole you can't win without a point guard situation might be a little bit flawed. Kentucky won without a point guard tonight. Michigan won without a point guard. And Purdue, with the best point guard in the country, took a loss. Randolph, I want to ask you this because I thought Michigan did something I don't remember seeing anybody do against Purdue. And basically they went to a 2-3 zone, but to me it looked like all they were trying to do was just send two guys at Braden Smith and get the ball out of his hands, and then they zoned up everybody else. And I don't know that I've seen that before. They were switching a little bit on him late, but is that the key? Is that what did Michigan kind of find the game plan to, I'm saying stop Braden Smith? He had 24 and 6 tonight, but did they kind of figure some things out here on how to slow him down?
I don't know if 24 and 6 and 5 is slowing him down. And one, like, I don't know if that's slowing him down. Listen, he's a handful, man. I said this last night about him. I thought he'd have a good year. I thought Purdue would be good. I didn't think Purdue would be this good. And Braden Smith is a big reason why. And I didn't even see this kind of production from Trey Kaufman-Renn. I didn't see him being as good as he's been, putting up the numbers he's putting up. So I thought Trey Kaufman-Renn would struggle with the length of Michigan front line with Wolf as a weak side guy. I thought he struggled. He didn't. Braden Smith didn't. They're the real deal, man. And it isn't always pretty. Those two guys are carrying it, whether Fletcher Lloyd joins in the third parties. He's that guy. If someone else steps up, they can knock down shots. They were right there, man. They could have very easily won that game. I just got to give my hats off to Purdue. They've exceeded the expectations that I thought they would, being a national runner-up a year ago. I thought they'd take a step back, and they may not be favorites to make a national championship run, but they're taking this Big Ten title down to the last game.